Interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
Of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And you know what I do in a nutshell, right? I help to turn dreamers into doers. And I do it from two aspects. I do it from the aspect of career development, interview preparation, resume writing. You have an issue on your job or you're looking to transfer your skills, I'm your girl. And then I also do it from the aspect of business. If you are looking to start a business, you have some ideas and thoughts and don't know how to quite bring them to fruition, you're looking for a marketing strategy, all things business, all things HR, I am your girl. Here at the Let's Do It Talk Show, we are primarily built up and stood up for the purpose of entrepreneurs. However, we know that an entrepreneur is a whole person. So what we do is we actually talk about a various number of things. So we talk about faith, we talk about finances, we talk about your future, which is business and your career, and we talk about families and relationships. So today is the second Monday of the month, and we like to call that Money Making Mondays. So here we will have all of the gurus, the financial gurus coming in and talking with us about a series of topics. And today we're really focusing on ways to make, sustain, and grow your money. So we're going to give some tips about some everyday fundamentals that you can start from anywhere, regardless of how much money you have. But you know what I do before we jump into all the seriousness, right? I give you an overview of my weekend. My weekend was very relaxing. I had a moment to step out of town, do a little quick drive, and visit one of my friends. And this is what we did. Yes. So I had a great time. We were able to reserve a pool, and during that time, I got to play in the water, splash my feet, and do everything well. But there was also one very critical event that caught my eye this weekend, and it was Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey stood out, used her platform, and paid homage to Breonna Taylor. So I'm going to show you a quick clip and come back and talk about it a little bit. So very quickly, just I felt the need to talk about this. So Oprah Winfrey, the old magazine, celebrated its 20th year. So this is the 20th year that it's been in production, and she shared the cover with First Lady, our former First Lady President Michelle Obama. But no one has ever graced her cover single-handedly. And with everything that's going on, she took her 20th anniversary and used this platform for Breonna Taylor. And I think that was a huge thing. But not only with that, um, she built up and stood up 26 billboards and placed them all around the city where Breonna was killed. And what this is, the reason why the 26 is so monumental is one for every year of her life. And Oprah just went through and talked about all how she's expressing it, and so that her killers are they haven't gotten locked up. And yes, they're killers, although they're cops, but they haven't gotten locked up. But she wanted to be a reminder of everyone in their community. So everywhere that they go, they will see a billboard that represents and is dedicated to Breonna Taylor. So one thing for sure, if you all haven't, don't subscribe to Oprah's magazine, take the opportunity for the upcoming, the one that just was released, to purchase it, to show your support as well, just to grace it. I'm buying it just to have it grace across the screen, or as my screensaver, or just something, just to contribute to. But I thought that was a monumental thing that she did. So we have to use our platforms in any way that we can, because right now, it was really hyped about the Black Lives Matter, and that's not the topic of the day, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but just saying what I feel. The Black Lives Matter, at the height of it, it was very heightened, and everyone was talking about it in T-shirts and everything, and even the same for my show. But we cannot let it die down. So we have to utilize any platform that we have and keep the good fight going. We have to keep the good fight going. So we are actually going to jump in the show. And as I said, it's the second Monday of the month. So we have the financial gurus for Money Make It Monday. So we are going to move into some introductions. So we have Sacagawea, Janice, and Sinead, unfortunately, is unable to join us tonight. Sacagawea, can we go to you first?
Hi, everybody. Hey. So yes, thank you so much, Ladrine. My name is Sacagawea Fanning. I am the CEO and founder of Fanning Financial Group, and I'm so excited to be on our once a month, I don't know what the real term is, monthly. Yep, that's it. Show, Money Making Mondays. I'm so excited to be talking about the topics we're talking about right now, because really it's truly about for people to know where they are, to be met where they are, how they can significantly change their position and don't feel like they're in a trap and that it's impossible. We are here to offer advice, personal experiences, some insight into things so you can learn how you can change your situation wherever you may be in life right now, at the beginning, at the middle, at the end. And when I say end, I mean retirement, like not like you passing away, but unfortunately, knock on wood. But we want to make sure where you are feeling confident where you with your finances, and if you're not, how to make you a little bit more financially confident and get you through the day, because the situation is unprecedented in this country when it comes to COVID-19. The number of companies that are going bankrupt and closing, the businesses, unemployment rate, it's wild, So right now we really want to focus on bringing everyone up. We're in this really together. We really have to come together as a unit and help each other out. So I'm really excited to get into it and have a great conversation tonight. Thank you.
Yes. Me as well. So the others, is Janice on yet? Yes, Janice is on. Hi, Janice. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I am well.
difficulties. Sorry about that.
No problem at all. You're just on time. So can you give an introduction and let everyone know who you are?
Yes, yes. Good evening, everyone. My name is Janice Bowles. I am a real estate investor, and I have a real estate consulting firm called B Premier Ventures, where we buy and beautify. I focus on real estate investments and flipping properties and rental incomes and just bringing in that residual side of income. And, although this is definitely, unprecedented times, very unfortunate times, we're all in a state of shock in a sense as to what we need to do next and how we need to move. But I love being here every second Monday of the month, just discussing financials with my co-partners here and just bringing insight. And believe it or not, even during this pandemic, we still can prep and prepare for the other side. So when it comes to the real estate investing side, don't panic too much. Don't think that you can't get in. It's a never thing. It won't happen. You need thousands and thousands of dollars. That's not the case. It's just about strategy, positioning yourself, and really educating yourself. And this is the perfect time to do that. So when we come on the other side, you'll be better prepped and prepared, and to make some moves. So I'm just happy to be here and enlighten and share.
Yes. So one of the things that really enlightened me in terms of us choosing this topic is basically a lot of people feel that they have to have a lot of money to even get started, to even begin or to think about making their money grow. But over the years and over time, I have learned like so many different tricks and still learning, even from a session that we had last week with Sacagawea. So basically, in terms of, it's a matter of not understanding. And my first rodeo was my church. My church had did an all year round pretty much financial series where they offered different topics. So I learned a little bit from there. And then of course, the first time that you're going around, you are not skeptical of like thinking that it's not going to work, but thinking like, I'm rubbing my nickels together. Like, what is it really going to like add up to? I might as well don't even get involved. But once you start learning the fundamentals and learning everything, and the one thing that I honestly heard like over and over again was, and not being racist or anything, but these are fundamental processes that Jews and rich people use to further get rich. And they are legal avenues that people really never heard of. And it's almost when you hear of it, you're like, is that legal? Like, is that for real? So, and then the other piece, and I'll say this so we can jump into the topic. The other piece of that is to help me even get further along. I would always, in the standard session, I will always ask specifically about federal government benefits, federal government retirement, and all of the different things that lie into that. That's where, even though Sacagawea does both of them, that's where it went into the customization. So for everybody who is listening, your situation, there are several things that are just across the board that are legal, almost like, why haven't we done this all along type of thing. And then there are some things that are very specific to you as an individual that you're just like almost throwing money away because of the lack of knowledge that that you have. And I didn't know any better, you know what I'm saying? But learning all these things, I'm like, people have got to get this. They have got to get this and understand the fundamentals of how to grow their money. We're missing out on several different things. So I get really hyped about this. One, because y'all are the experts, so I get to sit back and ask all the questions and do the meddling that goes on. Y'all bring it. So the topics that we're going to jump into, and I kind of like gave my spiel, is starting from where you are. So Janice, Sacagawea, please jump in, give a little bit more insight in that, and then we'll go into the other topics. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, For me, being my background is financial management, been in the industry over 20 years. I'm a licensed life insurance agent. So love showing people how legally you can use insurance to grow your money. And people are thinking, insurance, no, that's only when you die. No, honey, it is not. So I love giving people those little nuggets, golden nuggets of this is a legal way where first tip is that insurance predates the IRS. So guess what? There are some tax laws and loopholes that are grandfathered in under the insurance umbrella, where you can legally start growing your money to a point where basically you have a limit. If you go up to the limit, you can put so much in where you get to a limit where it does not convert to an investment. And that's what we call a modified endowment contract. So key strategy, right? So say you're on your job, you have your 401k, you have your thrift savings plan. Remember, there is a limit to contributions on a yearly basis based on the year. Like in 2020, I believe the limit is for 401k and TSP. If you're not 50 and below, it's 19,500. Then if you're over 50 to do the contribution catch up, I believe it's around 6,000 or 6,500, so around that amount. So those are the limits you can put in every year. Even though you may be a person who's like single and has more discretionary funding, you are still tapped, singles and married couples. Guess what? Instead of trying to put it into a savings account where you're probably going to get 0.5 to maybe 1%, 1.5%, because I did some research, top six CDs of 2020, guess what the highest interest rate earning was? I think it was like 1.05% or 1.5%. Guess what the lowest was? 0.5%. Wow. And not only that, they had one bad boy, the annual interest rate was 0.65. And to kick it off, they said you had to have a minimum of $1,000 in that account to make money on it. So not only are they gypping you on your interest rate, they're saying you can't even come into the club unless you have a certain amount of money to earn that little bit. But when it comes to an insurance policy, like we were talking in the session, index universal life policy, that's where you can kind of shift that additional money you may have to contribute to your 401k or TSP that you can't legally put in because of the IRS rules. Redirect it. Diversify your portfolio. I love it. Put a little bit in stocks, you want, because you're doing that anyway by putting in a 401k and TSP. You're kind of gambling with the stock market anyway, because it's tied directly to it. But with an index universal life policy, guess what? You're having that option of having a fixed account and an investment account. So you're able to put that additional money that's already been taxed and grow it into this account. And they're not going to limit you because you have such a high dollar threshold that you can contribute into it, that you can literally and legally, potentially, if it's properly structured and paid for, another stream of tax-free income.
And then let me just step into the layman's term right there. So basically, the thing that caught my attention is you cannot lose.
No.
You can't. There is no way that you can lose money with this. The only jeopardy that you have is the level in terms of where it grows, but you will never take a loss. There's no other mechanism out there where you can actually put money in and have it like associated with the growth where you cannot lose at all. So that's the attractive piece to me. And Saka Joelle, I know like at our last seminar that you are going to do a seminar. Have we come up with a date yet?
No, ma'am, but I'm working on that right now, but I am going to do it next month. So yeah, we'll be getting with you so we can confirm a date. Yes.
So I'm telling y'all, like for real, y'all want to be in that session that is had. I've been learning and getting tidbits and pieces about it like over some time. But this time I'm going to make sure that I make action on it, because you can look at your TSP and other things. When the stock market is going and doing its thing, even in the safest account for the federal government, even in the safest account for your retirement funding, you are still at risk. So this is like a no risk type of opportunity where you can have your money to grow. So why wouldn't you do this? It comes from the lack of education and understanding. So I'm looking forward to that course. So I'm out. I have something else to chime in, but I'm gonna let Janice go. Janice go. I'm telling y'all, this is like my
topic. She has. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
I have a couple of quick things. They're like everything. There are pros and cons. The cons of it, it's going to be a little bit more expensive insurance-wise cost than your traditional universal and whole life. Mm-hmm. And plus, if the market doesn't do as well, you're going to be capped. You might not earn as much as you would, like in the stock market or something like that.
But you won't lose any money.
You will not lose.
So y'all get my point that I keep saying. You won't lose.
I throw my criteria out there to make sure I give the whole picture.
Yes. No. I appreciate that. But I was just like capping it up and coming back to it and saying, because that's the thing that caught my attention and that was most attractive to me, because I was like, I'm always looking for the gimmick, or I'm always looking for the gotcha. And there was not one. So I was like, okay, we need to have a more expanded course on this so we can figure out how to put some coins into this.
Yeah.
And I love how you say you're looking for the gimmick or the gotcha. I love that.
And the other thing, in 2019, before this whole COVID thing happened, guess what the largest insurance policy was on record? It was bought and created for $201 million. Just saying. By a Silicon billionaire. Just saying. You go ahead, Janice. Go ahead, girl.
Listen, you any of my friends and family that may be watching this replay or on here now, Sacagawea has a plethora of knowledge when it comes to these life insurance policies. And it's not just for the government sector of employees as well. I just want to just put that plug in there, because when we had our session and my husband, who thinks that he's up on the top of everything, you schooled him on some information with regards to the policies and the deferred compensations and how to move that monies and things of that nature that he was not aware of as well. It was an aha moment for him. So I just wanted to say, I'm not a government employee, of course. I'm an entrepreneur. I got to really hustle for my money. I don't have a pension or anything, but this is Sacagawea. Like I said, any family members that I have on here and friends that's not only government affiliated, but privately as well. She is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the insurance policies and getting things in perspective. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. So the last point that I wanted to make about that is kind of tied into that. And I promise y'all, she ain't pay us. Y'all know, no, I can't be paid all. But without giving too much information, my daughter had a session with her, and these kids hide their money. They don't want you to know. Like, I like what you gonna do with my money. But anyway, she came home and said, "Oh my God!" Like, she greatly helped me during the session, and she walked through some things very high level, and then she said, "And I got homework." I said, "You got homework?" She was like, "Yes, I have another session with her and da-da-da-da-da-da-da." And I have watched her in some of the moves that she has been making. And I'm like, I needed you a long time ago. But it's almost like, if you can make that impact on her and millennial mindset, I've tried to say this over and over and over again, and you did it in 2 sessions, and she came home breaking it down, talking lingo and everything. So I was like, oh, this is straight up like the real deal. So we need to have like some sessions. And then the only other thing is that, and you'll talk about it more at the end, but you all, if you have not signed up for a session with her, she has like brief complimentary sessions. So it's like you cannot lose. So I really encourage you, pay attention to the information and make sure that you get signed up so that you can have a session with her. everybody that I have known that have come in impact. Some other people who used to be on the show and other things have talked about how you really have helped them. And this is no, like, I hadn't planned to say that, but as I started thinking about it, I was like, oh, we're about to make some things happen with this. So we really want you all to be educated and understanding. So let's go on to topic 2, where we're going to talk about the 3 main ingredients: interest rates, insurance, which we kind of touched upon, and investments. Interest rates, insurance, and investment. So you all definitely can chime in. Janice from the real estate agency in Sacagawea, we're just all over in terms of the interest rate. But understanding, and Shanae's not here to talk about credit, but one of the foundations is, again, people think if they have bad credit or they owe this or this, half of the time they won't even sit down to outline their information and to really honestly weigh their options. But Janice, one of the things like right now that's going on is property, home ownership, all of these things with interest rates that really impact it. Where it also impacts credit cards and other things like that. But let's start with the monumental aspect of it first, which is home buying. Can you talk a little bit about the interest rates in the real estate world right now?
Yeah, the real estate market, as far as home buying, you would think that because we're in the pandemic, it's going to be something that is at a standstill. But it's a regional thing, and within our region, people are putting multiple offers on properties. Okay, properties are staying on the market. If it stays on 30 days on the market, it might be something wrong, because they're going so quickly and what have you. And it's because of the fact that the interest rates are so low right now. So it's a great time to take advantage of home ownership, and home ownership in actuality is the first step to investing. Because if you can own your own home and that's how you're going to build equity in that home, you can get to the point where you can pull equity out, refinancing, and use those funds to go ahead and get to the next, as far as maybe a rental property or partnering with another person to perhaps do a flip or things of that nature. And that's really how I myself got started. When we got started back in 98, just after we got married, I was the one with bad credit. Okay, I'm gonna put it out there. I had bad credit, made some bad decisions, running up credit cards and things of that nature. So I was embarrassed, ashamed. My husband, he had the great credit, but we had to buy and take that risk and buy together. Now, did we get the best interest rate at that time frame? No, we did not. But starting where we were and sitting down and me actually, getting over the fact that my credit score was not the greatest, and starting at some point, I may have put a little bit more money down. I may not have gotten the best interest rate, but I became a homeowner. And that was the onset. And that was the strategy. And that started from pulling equity out and then going buying the next and the next and the next, to the point where I can literally, when we do a project, we are self-funded. Now, it wasn't an overnight success. It wasn't a quick, get rich quick scheme or anything like that. It took time, but you have to start somewhere. You got to position yourselves. And this is the time in real estate to purchase. I can't stress that enough. If you are a renter and you're paying $1,500 in rent or above that, you can become a homeowner. You definitely can become a homeowner. You just have to strategize. Get your credit. It may not be the greatest, but take a look at it. See what the things are that's damaging, and get a strategy together to improve those things. But now is definitely the time to get into real estate. I can't stress that enough.
Yes. Sacagawea, did you want to add anything from a standard standpoint?
Yeah, the one thing too is that even though we're at record low rates when it comes to home ownership and mortgage rates, it's now the banks have started to kind of tighten the belt when it comes to criteria, because literally there have been stories published where people have been pre-approved for loans, and right at closing, things have changed where they're like, oh, okay, cool, but we're going to need a little bit more on the down payment. Or now, not only do we need a little more on the down payment, we're going to kind of like shave some off of what you actually qualify for. Because I believe that is being perpetuated through the fear of not repeating what happened in 2008, 2009 with the housing bubble. You know, they were giving away home loans like Tic Tacs. You know, they were qualifying people for $500,000, $1 million homes when on paper or in real life, they didn't qualify, you know, based on criteria. Now it's kind of like the opposite is happening. The people who do really qualify, they're pushing it up to kind of buffer it so there isn't such a bubble if it does happen, you know, that bursts. You know, they're trying to take some precautionary measures of, now we're thinking like the credit score needs to be higher now. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere like it's at 720 in some places. When particular types of loans, you got to have a 720 when it comes to a credit score. Where in previous time before all this, it was like I think you get away with 640 or something like around that range. So
those days are gone. Those days are definitely gone. Yeah.
And so things of that nature of they are tightening the belt, even though the rates are like historically low, it's becoming more not difficult, but you know, it's some criteria that's been added that it's making it not as easy to get these type of loans and mortgages at such low rates. So, you know, have the inventory, but now these people who are really buying are some, you know, I've really qualified to get there to be able to take a part of the home buying experience.
Yeah, and then just from look, they do all the expert, and I'd be like layman's terms, like me and my friends talk about and how it's affecting us. But one of the things in terms of interest rates that I learned that helped me so greatly is the whole idea of borrowing on your own money. So a lot of people have Navy Federal. So I'll use Navy Federal for example. Navy Federal's personal loan against your own money, like whatever amount that you have, it can be as small as $500. It can be as much as $10,000. Whatever you have, if you have like credit card bills or something else that you're paying interest on, especially when it's not a tax write-off, you want to take a look at that and pay attention to the interest rates that you're paying. So Navy Federal on your own money, their interest rate is 2.9. It may have gone lower now, but this is a process that I use. So I basically took my money and took a loan out against my personal funds, and the interest rate was 2.9. So I looked at the credit cards and the other things that I had that had high interest rate. The lowest interest rate I had was 10%, but then the highest one, when I looked at it, it was like 17 or 19%. And I was like, oh, no way that this is going to happen. Because when you start looking at what you can afford to do, look at what you can't afford to do. Like you can't afford not to do it. So when I started looking at basically how much money you're throwing away in either credit card or anything that has an interest rate, you start looking at different ways. And then I was like, okay, let me use my savings and let me figure this thing out. And I didn't go and use all of it because I was like, no, because if something happens, I need to be safe. But over time, and that was the mechanism that I used over time, and it ended up being a lower rate. The next thing in Sacagawea, we always have this discussion about it, but so do other financials, even Susie Orman. And I never have gotten to the full understanding. I know when they talk about once you take out money from your thrift savings plan, you lose time and you never can pay that back. But then I remember that year that I lost a whole lot of money in the TSP. And I was like, it's not as solid as, what is said before. So why would I not consider taking a loan out on my TSP, and the TSP loans are very inexpensive. So yeah, you do the calculation of how much time I will lose and how much time it costs. But I'm telling y'all, I took my situation and I did like the calculations and I went through, and I'm not debating what is said from financial gurus, because I know that that's what they study and they have their fundamentals. But when I did the calculations and I broke it down, it took me a long time to go through that. It worked in a favor for me. So I think that you really have to look at not only the fundamentals of what the finance like story is or the outline, but you also have to look at history, and you also have to look at your surroundings of what actually is going on. Like, we are living in unprecedented times, so sometimes you're going to have to take unprecedented measures to make it work for your unprecedented situation. And I say that to really pay attention and look at your situation and have that open dialogue with your with anybody you're consulting and when you're looking into things, because I have learned so much from the financial folks. But the thing is, y'all know I'm a little challenging, right? Always got to challenge somebody and always coming up with a strategy. But I've learned so much, and when I dug deep inside it, I'm like, So I always have like an issue with that piece of it. But do what works for you.
Yeah, it's about each individual and their tolerance for risk. Because when you guys talk about from the government sector, the TSP program or whatnot, look at it from a private sector of 401ks.
Yes.
Okay, people frowned upon. I mean, get the same aspect of you shouldn't move any money from your 401k. You know, the big tax penalties and whatnot. But if I heard correctly, I could be wrong. Sakaji, you quote me on this, but I think it said something about during this pandemic time, people can take money out of their 401ks up to maybe about 50K or 100K.
Yeah, it's 100K, and then you're getting 3 years to pay back the taxes. It's not immediately during that following tax year. You're getting up to 3 years to pay that back.
Right.
So it's really great for the people who can afford it. So like you said, it's a very case-by-case basis.
Yes.
And like you said, Ladrine, like, the gurus who are out there, it's not a one shoe fits all. Exactly. And that's why I try to tell people. I'm like, they're trying to give you information, but they're doing it from a perspective where they're thinking, it's not. And those times have changed. And so that's why I kind of get a little like, don't take that advice that you said back in 2000 or the 1990s, because guess what? That doesn't play out anymore.
Doesn't apply.
We've had legislation that's passed, and we've had a pandemic now that's happening. So the old way of like, this is the way we believe to teach people how to do it. You gotta dig into it. That's what I love about you, Ladrine. You dig into it. That's what you do. Dig into it and see, does it fit your situation?
Yes, study and educate yourself. Yeah, because I think from a personal aspect, pulling during a time like this, if you've got 3 years to pay the taxes back, go ahead and pull some of that money out of that 401k. And you can, from a real estate perspective, and that's not my mindset of this, you can flip a couple of properties and the residuals that you're going to make on that, and you got 3 years to pay the money back. It's a win-win situation. But again, it's each individual person, their tolerance level, and how they strategize and play the game. That's where it comes into play.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. So let's shift to the topic of investments.
Okay.
Risk is a serious thing. And right now, and I'm not talking against or hating on anyone, to each his own. I'm not a very risky person, and I know that I have seen opportunities that come up that have passed where I'd be like, dang, but I'm not like that risky type person. I need to know how, when, why, where. What's the percentages got to be like in my favor, and sometimes that don't work, and I'm okay with that because that's the type of person that I am. There are other people that are risky and they have hit it rich because they made it. There are other ones who have just fell broke because they put everything in. Two things. One, and this is the one that I was going to, no judgment or whatever. They used to call them pyramid schemes, but they call them something else now. I just don't know about that. I honestly, I don't know about that because I definitely think that whoever gets in first, they're going to make out because they're going to make it and everybody's putting it in. But I'm always thinking about what about that last group of people that put in? Because it's going to stop or the flow. I've never met one where the flow still was going on from 10 years ago or something. Something goes on. And I get it. If you get in first and you get your money, you worried about you. I'm not that type of person. I want to know everybody who's connected, how everybody's going to fall out because I wouldn't want to come in last and me not have anything. So, trying to balance it out and understand it. And just as I was going through and having a discussion with somebody, Sacagawea puts out a article about it. So can you shed some light on that?
Yeah, so another thing that really popped up during this pandemic, starting really in March, April timeframe, and how can I put this nicely? I think if it's done correctly, it can work in a family environment. I believe they call it either a blessing or gifting circle. I think that's what people are participating in. Unfortunately, not everyone is family. And you need to be very careful because the article she's referring to is it came in the Washington Post. It was published on August 7th. And it was saying illegal pyramid schemes are on the rise during the pandemic. And so the specific example was for the state of Maryland, where a young lady had talked about her experience about someone came to her and say, hey, if you put in 500, you're going to get 4,000 back. And so the attorney general said you need to be very careful because if there is federal cases on record, and I believe it happened in 2013 where two females were convicted of a federal crime because they were part of this. They were in charge of these type circles. And the way they tell people that it's legal is that it's a gift. And so, that's technically legal in IRS, law. But the true definition, according to the IRS law, is that a gift is something that's given with no intention of getting something in return. And that is the exact opposite of what a blessing or a blessing circle or gifting circle, whatever the term they're using, that is the opposite. You are expecting something in return. So guess what? It does not qualify. So I know also in the state of Virginia, they are looking at it if you are tied to it and it is proven that it is happening, you could be charged with a class 1 misdemeanor. So it needs to be taken serious. I know a lot of people are like, well, I didn't have any issues, but Ladrine, you bring up the perfect point. You didn't. But what about, Bobby Smith, who's number 50, when everybody decides, oh, I already have mine, so I'm done. I'm gonna walk away. What do you do then? When does it end? So it's like the way the article
is going to end.
Correct. It's going to end. And so the way the article was written was very well fact-based. It wasn't, a conspiracy for people not to make money. No, it's like the terms that are out there when it comes to a pyramid scheme. It's something where you're gaining money by inviting other people in with the intention of with the drawing people in that they will make money, even though it's not a service or product tied to it. So
and that's the thing right there. Stop right there, if I don't mind to interrupt. Service or a product tied to it. Right. That in itself. If someone said, having you or want you to get into something, pooling your money together, and it offers no service or product base, it's a scheme.
Correct.
But then there's the folks that are companies that have product service base-oriented networking type affiliations that people still think are in some form of fashion schemes. And they're on the other side, while there's folks on this side, the 1%, that's doing exceedingly and abundantly well.
Correct. And that's the thing about it. I mean, hey, guess who was the biggest pyramid of all? Bernie Madoff, Ponzi scheme. Boom, right? But then you have people who are like billionaires, Mr. Warren Buffett, and guess what he owns? Him and his wife, Pampered Chef. Yes.
Yeah, Pampered Chef. There you go.
From
School them, educate them.
Oh yeah. All right. We're gonna get off this topic. It wasn't a part of our agenda. But just wanted to like bring that up. And I mean, to each his own, not my thing. So speaking of investments, the other one that I wanted to talk about is, I know like before the pandemic had gotten started, Janice, like the workshops and the information that you are putting together so that people can understand how to put in pool money to purchase properties or purchase investments, turnovers and different things like that. So I think like people are at different paces, right? And we have to, I'm blessed, work for the federal government, blessed, have my entrepreneurial aspect. But we have to like be cognizant of everything that everyone is going through right now, right? So a lot of people qualify for stimulus checks. A lot of people qualify for the additional money that they got like in unemployment or some of those things. And depending on how people budget or how they manage, some of those unemployment checks were more than people actual checks. So hopefully they were able to adjust their mindsets to save some of the money and to like figure it out. But even thinking of saving it for a rainy day, because once we're out of this mess, there's so many people who are unemployed that they're going to have time to find a job. So they're going to need money, and hopefully the money gets continued on. But I hope that people who are getting access and having extra, I hope they're really doing something to save or to consider ways to input money so that they can learn to make their money grow. So I think one of the important things also was to take this as a time to live within your means, because a lot of people are not going out. So for me, I saved a lot of money. So don't laugh at this part right here. But I spent a lot of money. My grocery bills was like $1,000. So I didn't cook before. And I started cooking. So I didn't have like salt and pepper in the house. Like seriously. So going to the grocery store, I was like, what? Like food is so expensive. So that's where my money go like right now. But
what were you spending when you were going out to eat? You probably be spending more.
I wasn't.
Really?
No, I wasn't. But I would eat. Oh yeah, I would eat McDonald's one day, Popeyes one day. Then I would go to a nice restaurant or another day. So it wasn't
organic now.
Yes, like even seasonings cost like so much, but I'm healthier in terms of like I lost some pounds until I went to visit Trina. Trina has a serious snack, but that's a whole different story. But anyway, my point that I was trying to ride upon is, so my friend is Trina, is a real estate agent as well. And she came across this property where she was like, her client, it wasn't the ideal property for them. But she was like, this is a really, really nice property, da-da-da-da. And I immediately thought of you, Janice, and the whole aspect of what you're trying to do. So risk is the point that I was bringing up. Like right now, it's hard to really do that for the people who really don't have like the funding, because it's almost like you asking, I'm going to go for Reverend Wright's book. You're asking a naked man for the shirt off his back. You're asking people who are in a dire situation to invest or to make when they don't necessarily know what's going to happen. So I'm very like about that. But then there are some people that are actually doing okay. Some people who are still had the opportunity to work. It is really like a thought process in terms of what are you doing with your money? Like, I know like probably for a while, a lot of us hit Amazon up. So if you don't have stock in Amazon, that's probably where you want to get stock. But anyway, fundamental things, fundamental mindsets, but even to start thinking about those things, start thinking about your little teeny bit of funds, because if it is like a lot of large investors, and they make an opportunity for smaller ones, just say if they make a small investment for 10 people to put in $1,000, right? and then the other ones are by like say it's something for 40,000. So somebody put in 10, somebody put in 10, somebody put in 10. But trying to come together to get people to be able to double up their money or to do something. Here you talking about a property, you talking about investments, but also the lesson that you gain from learning that. And I'm a student, so whatever I go through, I'm learning and I'm understanding. But there's so many different things out here for wherever you are, there's something either from Sacagawea in terms of like baby girl, like you looked at her budget and she immediately found ways that she could save money and she thought she was rich. But you know what I mean? It's the whole mindset. And Janice, in terms of you doing this over and over and over and over again, it's almost like it's butter to you. And you're like, why aren't people doing this? And people will look at you where you did it over and over again, or you got this and you got that. But I love how you tell your story of, that's my story now. That's not where I started from. So when we get into the point of realizing where we are right now, that there are steps that we can take, there are things that we can do. Sinead's not on, but you can start with your credit.
That's right.
You can start with your budget planning. And then you can, the excess money that you have, you can go into investments, and it doesn't have to be huge investment. So that's one of the things, Jens. I know you're into like real estate from that higher level, but like right now, a lot of places, a lot of people are losing their places, or a lot of people are giving up their places. But I think like now is a really, really good time to start looking for these places before they are abandoned for so long and end up being destructive, where you got to put so much money in to fix it up. So
yeah. You just got to start small. Start small. I mean, and I understand we have to meet. Everyone is in a different position, and you know, everyone may not be as fortunate as the next, but you can start small. Just saving $25 a week, if you can. You know, right now you can't go to Starbucks to buy the coffee. I think those coffees daily are pretty expensive. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not a coffee drinker, but just in looking into that aspect of things and save $25 a week, in 52 weeks you have over $1,000. And if 10 people pool together to do this, and put their monies together in a legal aspect way, you know, creating a LLC, a group LLC together, and putting the money together in a legal fashion, have a contract together. They put that money together, then they can be in a position, those 10, to go and when there's a distressed piece of property or what have you, have the funds to, as their LLC group, put down on a piece of property. That can be a rental, make residuals off of that rental, and within 5 years sell it and make profit. So you can start small. I really don't believe in the fact that everyone, it has to, and that's the misconception. Everybody thinks that when they get into real estate investing, you got to have all this whopping big money. You don't.
HGTV.
You don't. Yeah, that HGTV stuff it's killing the game. That's not even realistic from the rehab purposes. You know, the budgets that we have to have and stay in place. The budget that I overspent on my property that I just got a contract on, that I was just crying and I was going crazy over, but I had to make this happen. You know, where I thought I was going to be making this amount, no, because I had to buy all this dirt. It came out being this amount. But it's still, you can start somewhere. And it's about pooling and grouping your money the legal way, and it can make it happen.
Yeah. So I'm going to divert a little bit because something surprisingly happened in the news world in DMV over the weekend. But I'm going to jump to that in a minute, and then I'm going to circle back to you all so that we can do our closeouts, because I know we didn't do commercials, but it's 9:24. I skipped the commercials, but there are two things that I want to do. So very quickly, one, I want to share flyers for an event that I am speaking at this Friday. And the event is called Faithpreneur, and it's just like it sounds. It is people of faith who are in business or looking to get into business. And my segment is about revenue. So if you go to my Facebook page or my Instagram page, you'll see it. Mine is about revenue. There are a lot of people who are talking about various things about finances, and you're trying to figure out how do I get into it. And the way that I am involved into it is because not everyone has a business, and not everyone knows exactly how to get into business. Like right now, it is so easy to start a business. I mean, a business where you can get tax write off and other things that will, even if you didn't do anything, the tax write-off will cover the money that you put into it to pay for your annual assessment and all your annual fees. People don't understand that. So what I'm going to be talking about is how to transfer your workplace skills into the marketplace. So I'm going to be giving tips on how to do what you do in an everyday manner, how you can start a business and get paid for that, and not only get paid, but also use it as a tax write-off. There are other millionaires and other people that are all on the panel with me, but I'm talking about those early beginnings of how to get through. So just want to share the flyer. I'm not even sure if they put up the Faithpreneur flyer, but a whole host of people. The first one that was done, Les Brown, Linda Clements, all of the big name people, George Fraser, those were the nominees for the first one. And so it's a big event. And I spoke there last year at the TWA venue. They turned the airport and built the hotel there. So that was real nice. So yeah, so wanted to share that information. And then just sharing a little teeny bit. Allison Seymour. Like, I don't know if y'all was surprised. Like, that's my friend. And I was surprised to see it, like, because, I don't really watch TV anymore. So I was very surprised to see that. But just wanted to give a shout out to her. I gave her a shout out on my page, but wanted to give a shout out to her because I've known her for 20 years. She's worked for Fox 5 for 21 years. Sweet as ever. Those who came to my business know that she launched a business, but just look out for her. Like she, like she's not going anywhere. So just looking out and waiting for her next is going to be great. But great person. But I just was like, oh my God. So I was surprised about that. But sending well wishes to my dear friend Allison. So all right. So back to the money topic, y'all. So in terms of closing words, any closing words that you want to share in terms with our audience about ways that they really, other than what you already said, about ways that we can bridge the gap. Like we can bridge the gap, like continuing with the seminars that you have started, Sacagawea and Janice, even though the times are like testy where some have and the haves and have-nots, and we don't want to really do it that way. Let's start with the intro so we can at least start intriguing people now while they have time, because if you put away a little bit, then it builds up, and then you're able to actually go out and bid on something and auction on something. So any last minute words? So Sacagawea, can we start with you first?
Yes. So my main thing is, let's just start realistically, like you're saying, budgeting and prioritizing what we do with our money. That's what we have to do. I'm so sorry, but Amazon is making a whole lot of money when people are in-house and like stay in place. So it's not good to shift where I can't go to a brick and mortar, so let me go and shop online. No, how about cut down on the shopping period and start seeing what you need to put together for a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. Right? Because unfortunately, like you're saying, Dream, people may not have jobs to go back to immediately. So you need to be looking into sources of how you can sustain yourself in the really lean times, because guess what? This isn't over yet. And we may have some more hard times down the road. So for me, it's just like seeing, like you're saying, seeing those everyday skills that you can do and maybe start monetizing. Because unfortunately, we as a society, some people have gotten into the mindset, and it's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5. Trust me, nothing. But if you don't have the 9 to 5 to go to, then what are you going to do? You need to start thinking of a plan B and seeing. And then also key thing that people haven't been paying attention to in the news is that the president did write some executive orders. One of the executive orders was to pause the payroll tax, which means that they don't have too much of the detail because it hadn't gone through because of legal thing. That could potentially affect people who currently are receiving Social Security and people who are to receive Social Security in the future. Because guess how Social Security is paid for? Through payroll taxes that is split between the employer and the employee. So, unfortunately, if something happens to that sector, we're going to need to be really thinking about, how do we help the people who are on fixed incomes? So it's like this can grow into a very big thing. So once again, people, hate it when they may, but I'm like, get out there and vote, people. Understand how things are affecting not just you, but we need to start looking how things are affecting our community and our loved ones and our friends and our fellow man. If we're doing well, that's awesome. But let's make sure we can make sure more people are doing well financially. We don't have to say, let me go in my corner. I'm good. Let me go in my corner and chill. No, let's start teaching those gifts and those ways that we are doing good to everyone, because everyone deserves to have a decent way of living, a decent life. So we really need to start thinking about not only how you're going to be taking care of your household, but how can you take care of your fellow neighbor?
Yeah. And social media information, how can they reach you?
Oh, it's Sacagawea Fanning is my Facebook. I'm not creative, I'm sorry. And also it's Sacagawea Fanning at on Instagram. And it's, so Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook is Sacagawea Fanning. And you can also reach me. I'll put my cell phone number in the comments and everything like that in my email. But Sacagawea Fanning.
Thank you. How about you, Bose, Janice?
Well. It's just knowledge is power, and we have to continuously share the knowledge, in every aspect, to think of others, and that's one of the things that I'm very big on, just sharing the different avenues of how you can, at your area, become successful in real estate, and you can start small. My story just did not start where I'm on the high end here. It started from humble beginnings. Inner city, growing up with literally nothing, okay, and working my way through and working the kinks out, the bad credits, the bad decisions, even a couple of real estate decisions that were not the greatest, but I kept pressing through and perseverance, and that's the thing. But I get a high off of sharing the success of what God has blessed me with to help and encourage others. And I will continue to do that in whatever, realms that I can. We have to now look at it and I think folks have looked at it before, but it's very, very important now that our 9-to-5s or one source of income is in jeopardy. And that can no longer be the case. You have to strategize and put yourself in a position where you're going to create multiple streams. And you have to do that. I love, Sacagawea, when you said, monetizing on your everyday skills. The skills of even being a baker, if that's your hobby, you love to bake. How can you put that in motions where that is your side hustle, so to speak, or incorporating that into a small business where you're bringing in income? We've got to start thinking more in that fashion, because the jobs, the loss, the unemployment. One of my favorite stores that I just was dying that they went into bankruptcy. New York and Company Learners. Look at all those aspects. The jobs are not here to stay. They could be gone in any instance. So you've got to have a backup plan. And just, again, knowledge is power, sharing the successes, giving people avenues of what they can and can't, try to do. I think that's the way we need to be. So you guys can follow me on my social media. I'm Instagram, Janice Bowles. Facebook, I'm Janice Bowles, and then I have a business page for my business. You can definitely reach out to me. We can strategize and talk about getting into real estate, give you a consultation free. I have no problem with that. We can strategize, and that's at B Premier Ventures, and I'll put my email address in the chat for that. So God bless everybody. Stay healthy, stay strong.
Correct.
Thank you so much. And I got to give a shout out to everybody that's online. Neek Shalom, who brings it on the fourth Monday of every month, talking about relationships. We also have Andre Watts, Ella Rose Smith, Felicia Fanning Brown, Rhonda Dawson, LaShawn Reese, Tina Dangerous, Dee Bowden. And I'm sorry, like, if you're not my friend, I can't see like the name. So follow us on social media, all platforms. Let's Do It Talk Show. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Let's Do It Talk Show. And also check out our website, Let's Do It Talk Show. We're Let's Do It Talk Show across all panels. But I really encourage you to pay attention to all the shows, but like the financial shows, if you are really trying to make a difference and gain understanding of the fundamentals of just simple things that you can do to help grow your money. And so it's one thing that you start off. So, you know, Shanae is normally on here. So anyone who's having an issue with credit, Shanae can help you to clean up your credit and help to look at it and look at different ways of dealing with your credit and facing it. Saka Jawed then steps in terms of the information of the financial planning, helping you to go through and strategize and create a budget with the money that you actually have, and realistic things where it's not causing you to starve or do any of those things. Realistic mechanism that you can take, and then help you to sustain your money. And then Janice, I joke with her, Bola. I ain't said tonight, but I call her Bola.
I knew she was gonna do it.
Yeah, I have to do it.
She can't help herself.
But it's when you, because I really do that because I found your story so powerful, so powerful. And I love it how you are so open and talk about, although it was years ago, I started off with horrible credit. I started off, so you talk about all the situations where you were probably in a position that was worse than where people are like right now. And if you were able to do it from that standpoint, then it is something that we can do from right now. And I am so serious about this information. I'm so glad that we started this financial aspect. I've learned so much from it and continue to learn every day. And Saka Jawed and Janice, I apologize in advance for challenging y'all, but that's the type of person I am. It has to make sense to me. If it doesn't make sense, I don't see how it can make dollars. So
it's all good.
Yeah, no, I'm like, what challenge?
We gonna get it. We gonna get it, right, Saka Jawed? We gonna get her.
But again, y'all, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. But make sure that y'all seriously think about the thing. Reach out to Saka Jawed if you have any questions or you want that free consultation. Reach out to Janice if you have any questions or thinking about investing. And you will definitely see some more Zooms and some more sessions where we have for different topics. And Janice, we're going to get it started because I think it's the thing about changing the mindset, and you have to do it now. So next week is going to be a really good show. So I have to wait till I finish confirming all the guests, but next week is about your future. So I have a couple people who are coming and sharing some amazing stories. So thank you all again. Until next week, see y'all later.